Hi, welcome to Muzzle First. As you can see, it's snowing in St. Louis, and I left work a little bit early. I didn't stay till the very end of the day. I left a little early, but traffic sucks. It's not a fun drive home, but I thought I would talk to you a little bit about a couple things. There's a couple of news stories right now that kind of have my interest. One of them is Diane Feinstein, and I'm sure everyone has seen news about her new assault weapon ban proposal. She has presented a bill, and she has, of course, a lot of Democrats on board with it. Will it go anywhere or not? I honestly don't know. I'm not positive that it will be struck down. I would not come right out and say that Trump wouldn't sign it if the conditions were made right for him. He is a deal maker. He did write a book, The Art of the Deal. And I think if they gave him conditions that he thought was good enough, I think he might actually sign it. But just in case you haven't heard about it, I thought I would tell you some of the key provisions of this ban. There are some things in this bill that could be very bad for us, and by us I mean the Second Amendment community, the people who like their freedom, the people who like their firearms. And there are some things in this bill that are very bad for us, could be very bad for us. Let's see, there's three main provisions to this bill. The first provision, of course, is they ban the sale, the manufacture, the transfer, and importation of 205, they're calling them military-style assault weapons, and they have specific weapons by name. Owners are allowed to keep their existing weapons. So anything that you already own, you can keep. You just you won't be able to buy a new one, and if you transfer it, they have provisions that there are no private sales of these weapons. You have to go through an FFL, and yeah, so that's expected. They're going after the a specific style of rifle, definitely. But the second provision bans any assault weapon, and that's a key term there, assault weapon, that accepts a detachable ammunition magazine and has one or more military characteristics, including a pistol grip, a forward grip, a barrel shroud, a threaded barrel, or a folding or telescoping stock. Once again, owners are allowed to keep their existing rifles. Depending how that they classify that term, assault weapon, and that's where they have it. See, they're making this vague enough now. Diane Feinstein learned from her first time around doing this under Bill Clinton. She learned by her mistakes, and her mistake was to make it vague enough that people could get around it. And so they're starting to word these more specific enough that they're covering potentially covering a lot more than just the AR style rifles. Let's see, third provision. The third provision bans magazines and other ammunition feeding devices that hold more than 10 rounds of ammunition, which allows shooters to quickly fire many rounds without needing to reload. Owners may keep their existing magazines. So they're going after potentially a lot of different items there. They're wording it like magazines and feeding devices. What the hell do they mean by feeding devices? Once again, they're leaving their options open. They're not locking themselves into a specific look of a rifle anymore. They're definitely leaving their options open so they can go after more than what the bill was actually legitimately written for. So there's two exemptions that they show here. The bill exempts by name more than 2,200 guns for hunting, household defense, or recreational purposes. Now, I have not looked at that specific list. Nor have I looked at the list that is specified by name, the 205 that are banned by name. I have not looked at those. The second exemption is the bill includes a grandfather clause that exempts all weapons lawfully possessed at the date of enactment. lawfully possessed. So there's terms in here that they can really use to screw us over. If they demand that all these weapons be registered and you don't register them, it's no longer lawfully possessed. So you kind of have to be really careful here. Some other provisions requires a background check on any future sale, trade, or gifting of an assault weapon covered by the bill. So you will not be able to leave these to your children without them going through a background check to take possession of it. And that's something they've been trying to get rid of for a while, is the gifting of firearms, leaving them to your children. They don't want you leaving firearms to your children. The goal is to stop you from buying firearms, let you keep what you have, because they know in a couple generations they'll be gone if they don't allow you to pass them on. And that's kind of where it's going. Another provision requires the grandfathered assault weapons are stored using a secure gun storage or safe device like a trigger lock. So how are they going to assure that that's being followed? You kind of have to wonder. Look at some of the things they're doing in Australia. Look at some of the checks that they have in Australia, where they can actually they can verify that your guns are being stored properly. And in some other parts of Europe and the EU, where your guns are not stored at your home, they're stored at the sporting club where you use them for a sporting purpose. All right, another provision prohibits the transfer of high-capacity ammunition magazines. So you can no longer sell them, buy them, gift them. Once you pass away, your magazines are officially gone. They're no longer legally can legally be possessed by someone else, which kind of have to makes you wonder. There's no serial number on them. How do they know that I didn't own all these magazines before somebody left them to me? I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not sure how they're going to do some of this stuff. I think some of this is really just beating their chest. All right, another provision bans bump firing stocks and other devices that allow semi-automatic weapons to fire at fully automatic rates. Another key term that you're going to want to follow here, fully automatic rates. So somewhere along the line, they are going to have to classify exactly what that rate is. And it's very dangerous. That's an extremely dangerous clause, because someone's going to have to say what a fully automatic rifle, what that firing rate is. And if anyone knows anything about fully automatic rifles, is that the firing rate on them is all over the map. You can get them to fire extremely fast, or you can get them to fire extremely slow. So somewhere along the line, someone's going to have to specify what that rate is. And that's ridiculous. So like I said, they're leaving their options open. And there's other things about this bill. They update. They provide some updates to an assault weapons ban from 2017, and they specifically reference, the Las Vegas shooting and other crap like that. Some of the stuff that is very likely manufactured by somebody to put their point across for what they want to push their agenda. I don't doubt for a minute that somebody would manufacture an event like what we had in Las Vegas to push an agenda. That is not beyond the scope of possibility there, that they would do that. As a gun owner in this country, as a person who likes your Second Amendment rights, as someone who likes your freedom, I got a feeling that we have a choice that you're going to have to make here coming up in the next couple of years. I have a really bad feeling that you're going to have to decide whether or not you will comply to an unjust law. And unfortunately, folks, I think it's coming. A lot of people will tell you that Trump hands down will win 2020. I don't think it's sewn up. I am not positive that Trump will actually win in 2020. If Trump does not build that wall, I can guarantee you he won't win on 2020, because the Democrats will push the fact that he has a failed agenda. It doesn't matter how much good he's done for the country. They downplay everything he does. It doesn't matter how many jobs he brings back to the country. It doesn't matter. None of it matters because the Democrats and the news downplay everything. Everything he does, they want to blame on Obama. Anything he does good, Obama wants to try and take credit for it. They say he set him up for it. It's bullshit. And I have a really bad feeling that in the next couple of years, you're going to have to decide whether or not you will comply to an unjust law. And there's going to be ramifications for that both ways. And I know there's also talk, there will be another civil war. There won't be another civil war in this country. There might be an uprising, but there will not be another civil war in this country. The first thing that the government will do is bring in the UN, or the UN will just come in. It won't necessarily be the government bringing them in. But if we have a liberal president, I guarantee you they will bring them in. And once the UN comes in, I mean, there's no way that, a bunch of freedom lovers like myself and other people in this country will stand against a force like that. I hate to put it out there like that, but that is my feelings on the matter. And as far as Trump in 2020, we need him to build a wall. You need to tell your politicians how you feel about this thing, about everything. Tell them, don't just limit it to this. Be in contact with them constantly about all this crap that's coming out. There's legislation that's proposed here in Missouri that I haven't responded to all of them yet, but and some of them will never see the light of day. Some of them will actually probably make it to a vote. But you need to tell your politicians now how you feel about these things. They need to know, and you also need to let the president know how you feel about things. There are you can go to some websites and you can contact the president. You can leave him emails. You can send him letters. You need to let him know that you're behind him building that frickin' wall, and that you don't stand with all this socialist bullshit going on in this country. If you're not willing to take a pen to paper and buy a stamp to put on a letter to send it to your politicians, then you might as well just take your guns down to the police station and turn them in right now, because they will have them. And sorry, but that's just the way I feel about things. And you all take care, and I'll talk to you later.